You're listening to Cowboy Logic with Jason Forby, a message of grace and hope.
Is everybody good? Oh boy, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. Is it all right to have fun? Yeah, it's all right to have fun. We don't have to be stiff and dry and feel beat up when we leave church, right? So I was having so much fun with this morning. I was sitting on the porch giggling by myself. So, yeah. So last week we read the first half of Romans 5. We read the first half of Romans 5 in the Passion Translation, and it's just so good. And I really just read that because I wanted to get to the second half of Romans 5, but I didn't want to get to the second half and leave out the first half, and the first half was so good that it's just leading us up to the second half. So now we're going to just jump right into the second half, but I want to do the second half in a different translation. So now I feel like, okay, I got to go back and read the first half in the other translation too. So is that all right? It's all right with everybody? All right. No promises, but this would be just fine if all we did was read it and I didn't add anything to it or have anything to say about it. It'd still be good. Y'all think I can do it? No. Zero faith in the room over that right there. All right. So, oh gosh. I like using different translations because it makes you look at it. You know what I'm saying? If you just read the same translation all the time, you get familiar with it. And if you're not careful, you're just reading over it and never really even paying attention. You know what I'm saying? So I like reading different ones. And so let's read this thing in the Message translation. You guys got the Message translation? So I'm going to try hard to not have anything to say in the first half. We're just rereading the thing in the Message, and then we'll get in the second half, all right? I'm a child of God. Somebody say, I'm a child of God. Yeah, so if you're a child of God, that means you're no longer a child of Adam. All right, Romans 5, the Message. You ready? By entering through faith into what God has always wanted to do for us, set us right with Him, makes us fit for Him. We have it all together with God because of our Master Jesus. And that's not all. We throw open our doors to God and discover at the same moment that He has already thrown open His doors to us. We find ourselves standing where we always hoped we might stand, out in the wide open spaces of God's grace and glory, standing tall and shouting our praise. There's more to come. We continue to shout our praise even when we're hemmed in with troubles, because we know how troubles can develop passionate patience in us, and how that patience in turn forges the tempered steel of virtue, keeping us alert for whatever God will do next. In alert expectancy such as this, we're never left feeling shortchanged. Quite the contrary. We can't round up enough containers to hold everything God generously pours into our lives through the Holy Spirit. Christ arrives right on time to make this happen. He didn't and doesn't wait for us to get ready. He didn't and doesn't wait for us to get ready. He presented Himself for this sacrificial death when we were far too weak and rebellious to do anything to get ourselves ready. And even if we hadn't been so weak, we wouldn't have known what to do anyway. We can understand someone dying for a person worth dying for, and we can understand how someone good and noble could inspire us to selfless sacrifice. But God put His love on the line for us by offering His Son in sacrificial death while we were of no use whatsoever to Him. Now that we are set right with God by means of this sacrificial death, the consummate blood sacrifice, there is no longer a question of being at odds with God in any way. If, when we were at our worst, we were put on friendly terms with God by the sacrificial death of His Son, now that we are at our best, just think of how our lives will expand and deepen by means of His resurrection life. Now that we have actually received this amazing friendship with God, we are no longer content to simply say it in plodding prose. We sing and shout our praise to God through Jesus, the Messiah. See, there I did it. Part 2. You know the story of how Adam landed us in the dilemma we're in. First sin, then death. And no one exempt from either sin or death. That sin disturbed relations with God in everything and everyone. But the extent of the disturbance was not clear until God spelled it out in detail to Moses. So death, this huge abyss separating us from God, dominated the landscape from Adam to Moses. Even those who didn't sin precisely as Adam did by disobeying a specific command of God still had to experience this termination of life, this separation from God. If I had time, I'd take you through and show you all the scriptures where this separation from God wasn't an actual separation from God. It was just an illusion. It was all in our minds. We thought we were separated, and so our experience came along and backed up what we thought. So we thought we were separated from God, so we lived like we were separated from God. You've never been separated from God. You just thought you were. All right, I hear it. I hear it in the air. So let me just say, when Adam and Eve sinned, did God still show up for the afternoon walk? Uh-oh. When Cain killed Abel, did God still show up and show mercy? Do I need to keep going? I think we got it. All right. Even those who didn't sin precisely as Adam did by disobeying a specific command of God still had to experience this termination of life, this separation from God. But Adam, you ready? But Adam, who got us into this, also points ahead to the one who will get us out of it. Yet the rescuing gift is not exactly parallel to the death-dealing sin. If one man's sin put crowds of people at the dead-end abyss of separation from God, just think what God's gift poured through one man, Jesus Christ, will do. Let's get this. If one man's sin put crowds of people at the dead-end abyss of separation from God, just think what God's gift poured through one man, Jesus Christ, will do. There's no comparison between that death-dealing sin and this generous, life-giving gift. The verdict on that one sin was the death sentence. The verdict on the many sins that followed was this wonderful life sentence. If death got the upper hand through one man's wrongdoing, can you imagine the breathtaking recovery life makes, absolute life, in those who grasp with both hands this wildly extravagant life gift, this grand setting everything right that the one man, Jesus Christ, provides? Did you get it? Here it is in a nutshell. Just as one person did it wrong and got us in all this trouble with sin and death, another person did it right and got us out of it. But more than just getting us out of trouble, He got us into life. One man said no to God and put many people in the wrong. One man said yes to God and put many in the right. All that passing laws against sin did was produce more lawbreakers. But sin didn't and doesn't have a chance in competition with the aggressive forgiveness we call grace. When it's sin versus grace, grace wins hands down. All sin can do is threaten us with death. And that's the end of it. Grace, because God is putting everything together again through the Messiah, invites us into life. A life that goes on and on and on. World without end. Man, oh man, is that good stuff or what? Here's why reading all that, I could probably just quit now. We're gaining. But I see where most of, at least in the West, Western Christianity, I see where most everybody that goes to church or wears the label Christian is really reduced it down to, okay, I believe in Jesus, and that's going to help me someday, but as long as I'm still in this life, I have to deal with Adam, where this is the lie that we've all bought into and we've all believed, where I'm no longer connected to Adam. Come on, this is why Jesus would say, you must be born again. I'm on the thing, right? I'm on the thing. I'm going to say it anyway. Oh boy. I'm going to say it anyway. Most of the people that wear the label Christian never been born again. I didn't say they're not going to heaven someday. I didn't say they don't believe in Jesus. I'm not saying their sins aren't forgiven. I'm not saying any of that. But to experience the life that God actually has intended for us to experience is not waiting on us someday. It's already been accomplished. Come on, you didn't have to sign up or put your name on a roll. You didn't even have to get baptized to be in Adam. You got born. And before you were smart enough to say anything, you were selfish and sucking your thumb saying, that's mine. We all showed up and we all were in the effects of what Adam gave us. You know, you got to be born once. It says this, Jesus was born of woman and born under the law. He came to undo what happened to us when we're born of woman and born under the law, so that we're no longer under the influence of Adam and we're no longer under the influence of Moses. And when we finally realize that we can be cut off from both of them, that's when you're born again. That's when you start to experience life. Oh, not someday yonder, not after you die. Come on, if you didn't experience life until after you die, then dying's your Savior. I'm just saying a lot of the experience and a lot of the life that we've got going on is because we haven't really known that we're cut off from Adam. Come on, what's Adam got to do with any of it anymore? And yet we continue to live on like what Adam's done has more power and effect over us than what Jesus has done. Come on, I'm going to say most of the church everywhere throughout the world has more faith in what Adam accomplished than we do in what Jesus accomplished. Come on, we've made it super easy to live in the influence of Adam. You don't even have to believe for it. Oh, but now, what Jesus has done, that's not nearly as powerful. Come on. I'm just saying it's time to know. It's time to know that everything that comes my way that came out of what Adam accomplished, sin, death, sickness, disease, all of it, every bit of the curse, all of it, we've just accepted it and we've said, well, it's a part of life and, well, it's, Every time something comes around, you say, well, wait a minute. That came from Adam. No, I'm not having that. That doesn't have access to my life. I got born again. Jesus talks about all the stuff. He said, I'm the vine, you're the branches. Now listen, you don't have an apple tree producing peaches. Whatever the root is, that's the fruit that's produced of it. And a lot of the fruit that's produced in our lives is coming from the root of Adam instead of the root of God. And we act like it's normal. Come on, I'm not getting on nobody. I'm just saying there's a hope for us. I wish Edgar was here. Edgar's a little guy. I call him Miracle Man. He was here last week, but he comes to Goreville all the time. A couple weeks ago, him and his brother, they got into it. You know how brothers are. But brother threw a bucket at him and broke his elbow. The bone was sticking way out and everything. And so Edgar, he's a little guy. He's seen so many miracles and stuff now. And so they took him to the doctor and they said, you got to make an appointment to go to whatever. And the doctor said, I'm just going to put you in a casket until you get to over there. It was because it had to wait a couple days before they get in the other, And he said, I don't want no cast. And he said, well, we'll let the other guy decide. So that was like whatever day before he comes up Thursday to church and I get up there to preach and here he comes. And so he just stands there with me and I said, what are you doing? What do you want? And Mom said, he wants you to pray for his arm. He don't want no cast. So I said, all right. So I took him there. I just held him the whole time. We did the whole thing. He just stayed with me and we all prayed for his arm. And the next day he went to the appointment or whatever. And he said, I don't want no cast, none of that. No more sticking out. The doctors used the language, miraculous healing. No cast, no nothing. In a matter of a couple days. This is what I tell him. We don't play by the same rules as everybody else. We don't play by the same rules as Adam. Maddox hasn't had a seizure in 6 months, huh? Maddox ain't never going to have a seizure again. You know why? Because he's a child of God. Seizures are tied to the line of Adam, and Maddox is no longer tied to Adam. Come on, I know, I can feel it. I can feel it. I know we're trying to rationalize it and reason it out in our minds. Come on, fooey with all that. Let's just believe it. What's it going to cost? I mean, let's just believe it. You want to? I mean, how much more proof? These youngins are getting it. I'm going to keep on with it, because if the youngins grow up believing it, that's good enough for me. I mean, I want all of us to get it. Some of us are a little gray. Some of us are a little longer in the tooth. I'm going to get us as far as I can, you know, but you know, I'm going to take you as far as I can. But if it falls on, bounces off, comes back to me, I'm still going to get these youngins in it. The youngins are going to grow up hearing it. The youngins are going to learn to not accept all this stuff that we've accepted. See, we're trying to unlearn and relearn. They're just going to learn. That little Edgar, he's a miracle man. I mean, they got a big farm, all of them. They got 3 youngins. They're raising chickens from the dead. They're laying hands on. They're bringing bottle calves. You know, anybody messed with bottle calves before? They look for a place to die. Edgar's mom said, I hope you're happy. Can't nothing die in our place no more. Well, this ain't Adam's farm. What if we found a people that's just silly enough to start believing it? No longer connected to Adam. Carlin? No longer connected to Adam. It's impossible for diabetes to stay. I ain't backing up. This is what Jesus did. Jesus showed up, and everywhere he saw evidence of Adam, destroyed it. Ruined every funeral he ever went to. Opened blind eyes. Anywhere he saw fruit of Adam, he destroyed it. I'm just telling you, there's a new breed. There's a new breed coming. Some folks that aren't satisfied with just sitting in church, reproducing Adam, sitting around, can't wait for glory someday. Come on, I'm all for glory someday. I'm not saying I'm not, you know. I'm saying if you get born again, life starts when you get born. I just think we ought to get born again today. You want to? I know that offends some people probably. Are you sure? Quit being offended. Get born again. You want to? Let's get born again with the right definition and allow God to teach us what it really means. Holy cow, I'm a son of God, and I get to spend the rest of my life discovering what that actually means for us. I get to spend the rest of my life discovering and learning and being taught by the Father of lights what it means to be His son, and know that I'm connected to Him. And if I'm connected to Him, guess what? If being connected to Adam produces death and sin and sickness and disease, guess what being connected to God produces? Fruit from the tree of life. You know what it produces? It produces life. It produces this, what we just read, all this thing, extravagant love cascading over our hearts. It produces health. It produces victory. I'm just telling you, you just start understanding, hey, I'm connected to God. I'm plugged in. He's the vine and I'm the branch. The branch ain't going to produce what ain't in the vine. If there's still undesirables in our life, if there's still sickness, disease, stuff we're dealing with, don't feel guilty about it. We're learning. Nobody told us. We didn't know. But let's start to learn. Let's start to know. You want to? Don't take on guilt about it. I'm just saying, if there's still these things in our life, then we must still be connected to Adam and Moses. In some area. Come on, let's just be humble. I'm taking it for me. Y'all decide for yourself. If there's things still in my life that aren't coming from the blood and the connection of what God produces, then somewhere in my heart and in my mind, in my psyche, whatever, in my soul, somehow I'm still connected somehow to Adam and Moses. That's not a criticism. We grew up and got trained in that thing. But let's not ignore the fact and just say, well, that's how it's supposed to be. Let's say, God, this is not how it's supposed to be. And we want you to continue to shed light in our hearts. We want you to continue to teach us and show us. Because I want all of this life thing, glory that God has for us, don't y'all? Man, I saw in there where they said there was tears in heaven. You guys heard the song? Tears in Heaven. Yeah, Eric Clapton is a famous one. Tears in Heaven. I thought, what? Why is there tears in heaven? And somebody said, well, it's probably tears of joy because we're all so happy. I said, no, it can't be tears of joy. Or wouldn't he? It said God himself will wipe away all your tears. Well, now wait a minute. Why is there tears in heaven? It's not tears of joy. If it was tears of joy, he wouldn't be wiping them away. Why is there tears in heaven? I think for maybe just a glimpse, as soon as we get there, not very long, it can't last long, but I think just for a flash, as soon as we get there, we realize what all we had access to and didn't live in. I think for a flash, we get there and we think, oh my goodness, we missed the whole point. We missed the whole point. We spent our whole lives trying to figure out strategies to overcome Adam when Jesus already accomplished that.
Please follow and share this message. And for more information, visit srcowboychurch.com.